Good evening, everyone. This is Ari Kopel with Shattering the Matrix. Tonight, Jay Weidner joins me again with great information and insight about the latest issues concerning us all. Our aim is pretty much to shed some light on current events with the hope of giving you all a different perspective and take on things. We may not always be right, but the good thing is that if it resonates with you and validates your own observations on things, then perhaps we can be on the same page and hopefully inspire solutions to the situations that we're all facing as a species. So Jay and I have decided to discuss some pressing current events to create a deeper understanding about what's really going on. So Jay, are you with me today?
I certainly am.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining me on this
Yeah.
endeavor. So I was wondering, I don't know how much you've observed what's going on in the recent, time frame, I guess within 2 weeks or so that we last spoke. Um, what what do you feel are the most serious issues that maybe have surfaced within those past 2 weeks or in general? Is there any particular issues that you feel are really of concern that you might want to address at this point?
Well, I mean, I'm concerned about a lot of things. I think we should. I think the biggest concern I have right now, actually, is that the increasing radiation coming from our sun,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just been noticed here recently. And I can tell you that as a gardener, and I'm out in the sun for a long time in the day. Uh, 80 degrees feels like 90, 90 feels like 100, 70 feels like 80, 60 feels like 70.
Yeah.
So, I've had to go out and actually do precautions like wear long sleeve shirts and
Wow.
hats and things because there's something not right. I can't quite explain it because it's more of a feeling, but and I'm not alone. I've talked to like guys who do roofing and construction people work outside, and they say, "Oh yeah, dude, it's like blistering out there now." And I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm not alone in what I'm thinking. So, that is concerning me a little bit. And the fact that the sun used to be yellow and
Yeah.
now it's white, and nobody ever talks about that or wonders why that happened and all of that. So I'm a little bit on edge about that. And of course, I believe that the reason that their powers that be are running up gigantic debt and doing things that just seem kind of crazy and is that they think that the world's about to come to an end, and so they're not caring about the debt or anything. They're
Yeah.
just getting ready for the Armageddon that they think is coming, and I have no idea if they're talking about the Armageddon with the sun, but I suspect that that is what's going on.
Well,
So
they
what
were
we know,
talking. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I don't know if you heard that they were talking about, I believe it was solar maximum or something like that. They were expecting it
Yeah,
around 2025, and now they're
yeah,
saying it's going to happen by the end of the year.
yeah.
So to, everybody be aware that there might be some internet outages and, power outages. So I don't know that it's so much that they're, bracing for an apocalyptic type of thing. I think they're creating it. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that they are definitely preparing for it.
Hmm.
Um, the Cross of Henday chapter in Mystery of the Cathedrals came out in 1957, and this is about the two books I wrote about this
Hmm.
monument, and suddenly they funded the geophysical year in the late 1958, in which they sent teams of scientists out all over the earth to measure everything. And NASA started that same year. And the purpose of NASA, according to the Brookings Institution, was to go out and see if there had been some kind of past catastrophe proof or evidence on other planets. And so that was NASA's main real thing. So I think that um, I think that Fulcanelli represents a secret society that a benevolent secret society that released the Henday information, and the elites who had been looking for Fulcanelli after World War II and didn't find him, they took this as a warning and yanked up, ramped up all of these other programs and NASA and all of it. And I believe that they know basically, the mechanism for how the sun gets triggered. And they built the deep underground bases in 1960, starting. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot about that one. And if you know your history of the secret space program, you know that they were looking for off-planet shelters in space, and that's what the whole purpose of the secret space program was. Is that they thought there was going to be a catastrophe on Earth, and they wanted uh, three alternatives. The first alternative would be underground. I can't remember all three alternatives now, but the third alternative was to get off planet.
Wow.
And so I think that that's what's going on. And just the timeline is what we're just really talking about. So what's happened is as explained in my two books that I wrote with Vincent Bridges, is that we bob and weave. Where our solar system bobs and weaves through the emanation of galactic energy across the galactic plane. So the solar system goes north, and then it dips down south, and every once in a while, of course, we line completely up with these galactic energies, which
Mm-hmm.
are um, of electrical plasma nature, and they're concentrated. And we're now going through that plane. And we have been going through that plane since about 1998. And we will be exiting that plane very soon. And I think that a lot of the chaos and everything that we're seeing and feeling is this high, huge amount of galactic energy that's hitting us right now. And I believe that's what turns the sun white, is the galactic energy coming in. And this galactic energy is of an etheric nature. It opens up your brain and opens up your mind, and you can see more clearly and think more clearly, and you become awakened. And I think that's what's going on Earth right now. And it also, of course, when people wake up to the reality of what's going on around them, frequently they can't handle it, and so they have a schizophrenic response. and
Interesting.
and that's the increase of mental illness is going on right now, is also a direct result of these galactic energies which are pouring in, and they're making us smarter. That's the other thing. So and so we're actually not everybody gets smarter from it, but those who know how to tune in to the energies
Yeah.
will become more intelligent, and that's what's going on. And they know all this because the cross of Henday, that's what it's telling them. It's telling them that when you cross this certain plane, they're going to have this alchemical change in the human race, and that there ain't nothing you can do about it. And so the powers that be, who study all this stuff just like I do,
Sure.
they are trying to put it back in the bottle, but it can't be put back in the bottles. Like I said the last time we talked, you cannot do anything about the ages, just like you can't do anything about the four ages of a human being. When first you go through puberty, and you become an adult, and you pass into middle age, and then your hair goes white, and you turn into a senior citizen, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop your hair from turning white. You can't stop, puberty. You can't stop any of it. So the whole idea that you can stop this natural process is actually kind of hilarious. But they are doing it, and they're trying it, and it's not going to work. But we have to watch helplessly as they continue to, do what they're doing, basically.
So
Some
question
people,
with respect to what you're just saying, what is the purpose then of geoengineering? Are they trying to, like you said, stop the process? Are they
Yeah.
dimming the sun on purpose so that because what it seems like is that they're spraying so many toxic chemicals and nanoparticles and whatnot everywhere, contaminating the soil. It's pretty much eradicating the ozone layer, so that now it's allowing those UV rays, which is probably what you're feeling, to come in, and they're killing off the planktons in the oceans. Of course, all aquatic life is being compromised. So what's your take on that? I mean, do you really feel that that's what they're doing, or do you feel that maybe they're trying to exterminate humanity?
I don't think they want to exterminate us. They want us to compliantly give them our energy, sort of like the plot of the Matrix.
Hmm.
And we are, it's not working. And so, yes, they are using geoengineering to block the galactic energies from getting in. It's not working either, but they're doing it, and they'll destroy everything to make sure that we don't wake up. It's almost like it's like uh, we're waking up so fast right now that I am almost bewildered by it. And it's causing a lot of people in our community to become doomsday sayers.
Hmm.
So doom is everywhere. I'm sure you've noticed. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. Even
Yeah.
people that used to be optimistic are out now doom. And so I think that that's a mistake. I don't think that we should be doomy at all. I think we should welcome the fact that everybody's waking up. You know, I used to go on Jeff Rentz's radio show.
Sure. Hmm.
I don't know. I stopped in 2018 or 2019 just because I just didn't feel like going on every week. And I had a job and everything. And it in the 2008, so that's 15 years ago, he had on Obama's his lover
Oh
over
my
and over
goodness.
again had him on. And everybody went criticizing Jeff and calling him names and saying that you shouldn't be saying that about Obama and all that. And now it's on Tucker. It's like, what the heck? Right?
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. And so what's going on is that there is an opposition forming that they can't see and they can't stop. That they don't, what's happening now is something that they can't control. So Tucker is getting his weekly paycheck from Fox till December of 2024.
Yeah.
So he's doing everything for free.
I know.
And
It's
so
awesome.
they can't penalize him because it's free speech. So they don't know what to do about it. This music star, Anthony, whatever his name is, this
Yeah.
guy,
Oliver Anthony or something.
Oliver Anthony, he turns down an $8 million country western music deal. And
Hmm.
they're like, what? Nobody turns down that. But now we do. And there's a whole bunch of people that just aren't going to be bought off anymore. And so it's because we're of that new way of thinking that we just don't want to be bought off. And
Correct.
they don't know how to handle it because that's always been the way that they controlled things. And I believe that I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I believe Elon Musk is in that group now too. And so things are starting to be said which were not allowed to be said because the opposition has just gone too far.
Yeah.
And if and well, I think where we really got shook up, and I sense that everyone's really shook up right now. I sense it was a combination of Maui and
Hmm.
Trump getting arrested. I
Yep.
think those two events just really shook up everybody. Like, we saw the brazen events in Maui, and the rest of Trump was brazen as
Yep.
well. And so now they're out and they can't hide, and they're being exposed, and they don't know how to act. So it's very interesting what's going on right now,
Oh yeah.
and definitely get your popcorn.
Yeah, we're living in very, very interesting times indeed. Um, what do I think the last show you were saying something that you felt, at least it's the chatter, right? We're hearing a lot is that the possibility of Trump being assassinated, but now it's, they're
Yeah,
trying to remove him from ballots and things like that. And your opinion was 2 weeks ago that there may not even be an election.
yeah.
So with that in mind, how does that look like? I mean, does it mean that Trump gets reinstated? Does it mean that the powers that be stay in power? What do you feel?
Well, I think that there's I think what's happening here is that everyone has begun realizing that the power behind Uncle Joe is Obama.
Hmm.
And this is becoming very, very apparent, and that we're really in the third term.
Correct.
And I think that that has caused uh, the opposition to now focus on Obama. I think that's where this is all going right now. I think
Interesting.
we're no longer going to focus on Uncle Joe. We're going to focus on the real problem. And that's the one thing that he doesn't want. He wants to remain quiet and in the background and just run everything. But it's pretty obvious with all of his aides right all around Joe that he's the guy. So Obama's going to become the focus here, and Obama does not care if there's another election or not. And so yeah, we're getting to that point. Here they're trying to remove Trump from the ballot in Colorado. Okay.
God.
So that's where I live, and I'm gonna tell you right now that I will write him in,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I'm not alone. So
Oh yeah.
um, they're not gonna it's not gonna work. I'm gonna say it right here clearly. You can take him off the ballot, but he's gonna win on write-ins. So you're gonna have that problem. So you
Yeah,
got a problem no matter what. And the more that you come after him, the more solid we stand our ground.
sure.
So I wasn't even a Trump fan. Not really, but now I feel compelled that I have to support the guy because he's being suppressed like this.
Oh yeah.
So I think that they're galvanizing because the Tao. I practice the Tao and I read the Taoist books, and the Tao says the more that uh, the more that you make laws, the more you make outlaws. The more that you try to force a situation, the more that situation is forced upon you. And the people that are in charge right now don't understand the power of reciprocity, and that this is all going to come back and,
Yeah.
and, and crush them. But we don't know exactly how that will be. What they want right now is to keep pressing us, keep making us crazy, getting us more and more crazy until we finally explode. And then when we finally explode, they say, "See, we told you. That's exactly how these people are."
Yep.
And we need to suspend the Constitution right now because of these people. And then that'll be it. Because once they suspend the Constitution, they can now confiscate the land.
Oh
Right
yeah.
now, they can't because the states are standing in between the power grabbers and us. And the states don't want to lose their land because it's their revenue. And so that is what's standing in the way. But uh, if we, it'll probably be manufactured, I would imagine. If we go on like this and we blow up and do something stupid and violent, you can bet that's going to be the consequences.
Oh, you're
We're going to
right.
suspend the Constitution, and you're all going to lose your land because they got to pay off the debt. That's the
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and they can't. The only thing that's good, that they have is what I just described. They don't own anything. I mean, I guess they could sell off the national parks. I don't know if that would pay off the debt,
They
but
could sell it to
I don't,
China.
they probably will. They probably
Yeah,
have.
they probably
Yeah,
have already. Yeah.
yeah,
So without rising up because that has a consequence. Obviously, J6, they made an example of all the few
Yep.
people that obviously that was just to threaten everybody. Don't you even dare. Don't you even dare rising up. So without rising up, how do things turn around though? Right? Even though, let's say, we're all awake, right? We all receive these energies and we're all now conscious of what's going on. What now? I mean, this thing, they're not going to, just remove themselves from power. Hey, we realize that you guys are all awake. We're just, we're moving, we're packing our stuff and we're leaving. All right. I don't think it's going to turn out that way. So
No.
how does this turn around? I mean, how do we, the people, whether it's here in the
Again,
United States or even globally, how do we take back our countries?
well, remember, you can't, there's nothing you can do about the change of the age. So the age is going to change everything,
Regardless,
just
yeah.
yeah, regardless. And so what's going to happen is that they're just going to become more and more the emperor with no clothes.
Yeah.
And they sent out Alex Jones, I think it was Alex. He put out what 2.5 weeks ago that they're bringing back all the COVID
Oh,
restrictions.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and immediately I said, we got to get on every single social media and say we're not complying with it.
Exactly.
And then they backed off. Said, "Oh no, we never said that. That's a conspiracy theory." And, and but they did, and and so I think that they have AI, which is watching everything, and I know they do, and they're getting reads on how far they can go. And I think right now they're getting the read that there's a lot of discontent. You better be careful with what you do, and I think that we can control the situation with that. And I think they're completely overwhelmed by how many people just know what's going on now
Yeah.
and just matter of factly say it. And it's so, like what Tucker is doing with this guy he's interviewed, right? They're completely ignoring it, but we're not, they
Exactly.
are.
Yeah.
So um, the ground is moving and shaking, and they are busted. Basically, they've been busted, and so now the question is exactly what is the physical thing that we do? Well, we don't. We don't do anything.
We just watch
So
and eat the popcorn.
now you watch the talk and get people compelled to
Yeah.
come over to our side. That's working, and it will continue to work. And as more and more people come over, then we'll have enough people there. Well, we just laugh at them, and the police. Well, I mean, there's not even the thing is that the police forces can't even keep their police. So, is there even going to be anybody to enforce their laws? You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
whole towns are losing their police.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be a cop anymore. Who would want to be a cop? And so you got to wonder what kind of the biggest danger that we face right now is that we get warlords in the cities.
Oh, that's true.
That's what
Yeah.
I'd be kind of worried about is gang leaders coming forth and taking control of the neighborhoods because the cops aren't coming anymore.
Yeah. Are you worried or have you even thought about the possibility of Sharia law coming in full force to certain towns? Because I think they are in certain towns. I'm not sure. I think believe maybe Michigan has a couple of cities that
Yeah.
have that. Do you feel that that might be an issue? Since maybe there won't be any police or regular laws, but maybe Sharia law will be a little bit more prominent.
Yeah, I think that could happen.
It
I
could.
think that the uh, um, oh, I want to make sure I get this right. I don't want to get us in trouble. Uh, there's a group there's a sect of the Jewish people
Hmm.
uh, that's kind of a hippie sect, and it follows the Noahide laws, and I think that we are headed towards the enactment of the seven Noahide laws. I think that's where we're going with all of this.
Oh, wow.
And I think that Islam could be the religion that they're setting up to take over once they've gotten rid of Christianity. I really do. The roots of Islam really show that, something funny was going on back at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It, it's like, this couldn't just have happened by accident.
Yeah.
Somebody's financing this, and Christianity, people don't realize, but in 600, when Muhammad came forth, Christianity was the dominant religion of almost the entire world outside of India and China. It was dominating North Africa, and all of the Middle East was Christian, and Europe was Christian, and then somehow this religion rises up out of nowhere and becomes the main competition. Within 100 years, and it's quite an amazing story.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. What's your take on the Nasara Gassara situation? Is that a for real thing? Is that happening? What's your take on that?
It's BS, total BS. There is no magic thing going to happen like that.
So
No
nobody's
way.
going to be filthy rich from, all the wealth of the world that's been hidden and then
No.
just no.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, we could uncover the wealth of the wealthier families and redistribute that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that could happen, but I don't think there's any special program that they're sitting on. I've looked into it, and I don't. None of my seriously wealthy friends believe it, so I don't believe it either.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not a believer in it either. But I was just curious what your take on that
Yeah,
was and to see if you had any more in-depth info on that. But it just feels like a psyop to me, but everything does. I'm
it
one of
is.
those conspiracy theory people. All right, so my question to you too is, there's a lot of people, listeners, just people in general that are truly not aware or awake, or they just don't see things. They're either in denial. Maybe it's just too overwhelming and they just shut it off and they just want to keep their blinders on because by doing that they keep their sanity, right? I think you mentioned something like that a little while ago. Um, is there something that is keeping them from not actually seeing it? Is it because I think I've heard you mention sometimes, I don't know about it. Is it an IQ thing? Is it just cognitive dissonance? I mean, what is it? Because, it's really difficult, to have a podcast that is constantly bringing things up, and blogging and this and that, and between me, you, and 100,000 other, podcasts out there that are trying to bring out the truth, some people still don't get it. So what's your take on this?
It's a perception failure. I don't know if it's IQ because I know really smart people who will just
Hmm.
continuously deny it. So
Yep.
I don't think it's that. I think it's a quality that some people have and some people don't, and it might be kind of psychic a little bit. And I've said before that I thought that the events of 2020 and 2021 were
Hmm.
in some ways designed to find people who possess those qualities in society. And they would be the ones, of course, that would say no, right?
Correct.
And and then the ones that said yes would be kind of taken out of the game, and all you'd have left is people who possess this I'll call it quantity X, 'cause I don't know what it is. It's a perception, a
Yeah.
kind of a psychic perception about the world around them. And so it could be that the people that are actually in charge are trying to cultivate that particular thing, because frankly, we're the ones that are going to live in this situation, the
Yeah.
ones that have that quality, and the ones that don't have that quality are frankly not going to live. And so I really wonder sometimes if this isn't a mining operation to find humans that have that perception X quality. And I'm not alone in this because I remember I was listening to I don't know who it was. It was some big conspiracy talk show guy. Might have been Alex Jones. And he said that he was talking to Christy Lagarde's one of her top people, right, head of the
Right.
IMF. And this is at the beginning of the pandemic. And he said to her, "Well, what's going on? What's this all about?" And she said, it's about intellect." Uh, and he said, "Well, I don't understand. What do you mean it's about intellect?" She said, "It's about," I'm paraphrasing here, but it was something like, "It's about us finding who has the right intellect." And I thought,
Oh
what?
my God.
What does
Sir.
this mean? And he knew. I could tell that. I think it was Alex Jones. Yeah, he knew what it meant. And you could tell. You could see it on his face. He could.
Wow.
But it was like. And then there's this guy, Jacques Attali. He worked for Francois Mitterrand, the president of France, and he wrote a book, A Brief History of the Future, be about 2005 maybe. And in the book, at the very end of the book, he talks about how the biggest problem that the human race faces is that there's too many stupid people, and that we have to find a way to sift through the mix and pull out the smart people and get rid of the stupid people. And then he actually suggests that one of the answers to this question might be vaccines, right?
Oh
And
my
it's like,
God.
yeah. And then you start thinking about it, and that's exactly what's going on. I mean, I have a group of maybe 15, 20 people in my tribe, and we're all highly perceptive people. That's why we hang around with each other. And none of us, did it. And we're watching all these people around us that are around our same age. And every week there's another poster up in our town.
Hmm.
Oh, Bob just died. Terry just died, right? And it's like, wow, all these
Amazing.
people are dying all around us. And yet nobody in our group has had any problems.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I really actually, I don't want to think this, but a part of me is just like nagging at me all the time saying that this is what's really going on here.
Oh,
So we know that the WEF, the UN, all the intellectuals that are up on the top, they think that we're a type 3 civilization, and they want to make us a type 2 civilization.
right,
So there's
right.
three types of civilization. There's a type 3, which we live in now, which is countries, right? Low tech countries. The type 2 would be a high tech civilization that ran the entire solar system,
Okay.
right? We had,
Yep.
and then type 1 is what they show on that show Foundation. It's a galactic civilization. So
Correct.
what the intellectuals want to do, at least that's what they say in their papers, is they want to take us from type 1 to type 2. That's what they're trying to do. But the thing is that if it's a type 2 civilization, you everybody needs to have like 105 IQ.
Right.
Everybody. You can't have anybody that has a low IQ because they'll press the wrong button and blow
Yeah,
up the solar system.
it's true.
So so everybody basically in a type 2 civilization would have to be engineers or of something, right? Everybody would have to be
Wow.
an engineer. So you need a super high IQ population to go from type 1 to type, or from go to type 3 to type 2.
Right.
So this would go work hand in hand with that, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah, it would. And it would also, I guess, tie in with possibly transhumanism. Do you agree or no?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's it. That transhumanism is the type 2. The way we're going to live in type 2 civilization is going to be, everything will be virtual, and um, yeah, it's
So
exactly
so
right.
so would type one be your it's just AI at that point?
You probably pretty much everything would just be run by the AI, and the solar system would be run by the AI too, but that would be on a galactic scale on a type 1. But um, we it's very likely that we've already got probes that have already gone throughout the entire solar system. I believe we had probes that went up throughout the entire solar system by the late 1960s. I believe that I've been told by upper guys in NASA that we'd been to the Mars, we've been to the moon, we sent probes out to Saturn. We know everything about the entire solar system. I believe we have a type 2 civilization living here already. It has been here, and that we're kind of like their bio lab,
Hmm.
and maybe possibly where they get their food and water. Um, so if you just look at the evidence, it looks like there's a type 2 civilization already here. And so I would say that they've contacted, the people that run the earth, and they've said, we want you to join us, but you can't have a bunch of morons.
Oh
And
my.
so I
So,
actually do think that. I know it sounds horrifying, and it sounds horrifying to me too, but I'm just looking at this with the practical sense, and that's what I say. Right, here's how to get rid of the more. And remember, it has nothing to do with IQ. High
hmm.
IQ people,
Oh, I know. Believe me, I know.
yeah. I mean, I have several friends who are,
Yeah.
graduate, master degree, and the whole thing. They were like first in line. So it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, I don't know, sort of like a trust, or a distrust, right? I mean, I'm the kind of guy that, before I eat food that I haven't cooked, I smell it, right? I want to make
Yeah.
sure, so I'm never going to just go do something that somebody compels me to do. It's just like, that's not going to happen. I was talking to a guy earlier. We were talking about negative thoughts coming into your head, and he was
Hmm.
he was a psychotherapist, and he was telling me that what they tell these people that suffer from schizophrenia is that you're supposed to say that to that thought. That's not true, and I have a form of that. I have a when I get a negative thought, I just I have this voice in my head that says, "Oh, cut the bullshit."
Yeah,
Right?
I do too.
It's like just sick and tired of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that not enough people have that mechanism.
Hmm.
So I really do believe there might be something to this, that they're mining a quality of a human being, and only some. I bet everybody's got the quality, but some have actually not let it atrophy and work on it all the time, and so they're the ones that are not easily fooled.
Do you think it's a possibility also that their discernment level has not maybe developed well enough, or to
Yeah.
a more sophisticated? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because isn't that really what, when you're awake and you start talking to normies, you realize that I mean, you could point out, something and they wouldn't even look.
Yeah,
They won't even look. They won't even examine it. So that's and this is the thing, that what's going on here today is that, um, so woo is anything that normies don't believe.
right.
So as soon as normies believe it, it's no longer woo.
Correct.
So the goal is to make nothing woo. So the goal is to make all the normies believe all the woo, and then we don't have to talk about woo anymore.
Good
We just
point.
accept it, that it's part of our life. And the normies are, they're not going into this with a happy face, because you're basically telling them that pretty much everything you believe is absolutely wrong,
Yeah.
from your history to your science to what you eat, what you put in your mouth, and everything is completely wrong. And how can you tell a normie that? They're not going to believe it. So what has to happen is that the normie just has to finally one day see it. And when they do, then they slowly get converted. And there's nothing more joyous on earth than watching a normie convert. It is, several YouTube podcasts since 2020 where I've watched left of center intellectuals change and
Yeah.
blossom and become awake right in front of my eyes, and I have to say, it was usually the women. I've noticed that the men go kicking and screaming, but the women are like, well, this must be what's going on, and it's like it's a joy, but I don't think that it's happening fast enough.
I know, I know. So, question, do you think that uh based on some other people's opinions, that the Earth is going into a fifth dimensional thing, whether that the Earth is ascending? What's your take on the fifth dimensional Earth topic, and how do you view that?
Well, I think that as the galactic energies increase, and they will, um, that we're going to begin to see some of the invisible entities that live
Hmm.
around us. I think we're going to begin to have more and more. It's happening with me. I don't know about you guys, but uh, the craziest, weirdest psychic events are happening that it's just crazy weird. We grow basil, and we
Mm,
during this time of the year, and we make gigantic amounts of pesto with it.
okay.
And in order to save it, we put the pesto into ice cube trays and freeze it. And then we put it in a big bag of little, chunks of pesto that in the winter, we take two or three of them out. We let them dry, warm up, and then we have pesto in the middle of the winter, right? It's one of our rituals. And so we have a bunch of ice cube trays that we pull out every year at this time. And the other day, I was like, I couldn't find one of the ice cube trays. And I was like, I wonder where the ice cube tray went. I put it in the garage and I know it was there. I put four of them there. There's only three, right? And I said, I got to go to the store and buy an ice cube tray. I don't have enough. And I go out, I swear to God, I'm going to the store. I'm going to go out. I walk out the door, and my 18-year-old Great Pyrenees comes running by with what? The ice cube tray in her mouth. What? you know, and
Oh
this
my
stuff is
God.
happening like all the time,
Yeah.
and some of it's really trivial like that, but it's happening, and so we do have the ability to manifest reality,
Yeah.
and that is another reason why they're messing with our minds so that we never use that ability. Because once we have that ability and exercise that ability, there ain't nothing they can do to stop it. And so they're throwing as much confusion and fog and everything in front of everyone so that everyone doesn't realize that we do control reality.
Yeah.
And we really do. And
Good
that's
point.
a provable that's a provable thing that you can do. It's
Oh, for
not
sure.
you could pick something out and go dream it and go live it, and you'll find out that you manifested that reality. And so that's why they're freaking out, is because we are manifesting our reality and they don't like it.
Yeah, and too many of us are going to be manifesting that reality, so they're going kicking and screaming as well.
Well,
Ascension.
that's right. That's why they don't like anything spiritual,
That's
because
right.
as
That's right.
soon as you start talking about spiritual things, and you start realizing that most of the spiritual traditions teach you just that you have the ability to manifest reality,
Exactly
and so
right.
they want that covered up and not talked about and suppressed and all the rest.
I love it. I love this conversation. It's really very empowering. I hope everybody's listening, because I mean, this is the truth. I mean, you do have that power to do that, to create your own reality. So here's a question for you, with respect to ascension, because I just feel that that term has been so overused, but a lot of people talk about ascension symptoms and whatnot, and I'm just wondering, is it really maybe a lot of it ascension symptoms, or is it more like the toxic stuff that we're eating that is creating symptoms? What's your take on that?
Oh no, I think we're definitely we're moving in an upward place. I'm not going to use that word, but we're moving in an yeah, because certain people that are suing me use that word all the time.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah. And they don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
it's a little overused sometimes, but
yeah. But I do believe that the energies are rising, and
mhm.
you feel it. I mean, it almost feels like a little hot, you might say. And and I it's like that what I was talking about with Tucker Carlson. And it's not just him. it's across the whole alternative community is suddenly talking about subjects which we didn't talk about
Oh, for
before.
real. I know.
Yeah,
You're right.
it's
Yeah.
kind of amazing.
Hmm.
And I have to, I'll call it some of my friends. I say, "Is that really just happened? They really talking about that? I thought we were the only ones talk about
Yeah.
those things." And it's like, no, no, no. And it's novelty. Novelty is loose. So all these things that like, okay, so I'm sure because I was in media that Tucker, asked to interview this guy or that guy, and the upper people said no. And he said, "Well, you told me when you hired me that I would get to choose who I wanted to interview." And well, too bad you don't. I'm sure that's what happened. And then he left, and so he just started interviewing all the people they didn't want him to interview. So they just made the problem 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah. 100
You
million.
know,
Yeah.
and people don't watch Fox, but they watch Twitter or whatever they're calling it now. And
X.
so
X.
he's getting 18, 20 million views
Oh,
on his shows, where he's getting 3.5 million on Fox.
unbelievable.
So yeah, so they every time you try to blow up the situation, it blows up in their face. And it's going to continue, and it's going to actually get funnier and funnier because all these indictments against Trump, all of them are going to be thrown out because there's a law. It's on the Justice
Hmm.
Department books that you can't prosecute a president for what happened while he was in office. So you can't. You cannot prosecute a president for what he did while he was in office. You know how many laws a president breaks every day?
Hmm.
And I'm talking like
Well,
bribery. I'm talking about like ordering the assassination of somebody or right. Those are all breaking the law. You can't do that. But presidents do it all the time. They have to. So, the Supreme Court is going to throw all of this stuff out. It's just another waste of time, more obfuscation
yep.
and
Yep. Distractions.
array
Hmm.
that just like Nixon never got prosecuted, or Bush would never get prosecuted, and Trump's not going to get prosecuted. So it's going to get all thrown out.
It's going to be very, very interesting the weeks ahead and months ahead. Is there any last thing you want to say with respect to anything? Any issues, any news, anything that you feel you want to get off your chest? And this is your chance to inform the audience about this. And I did notice, by the way, our last show had what 9,000 views in a matter of days, so
Yep.
it's like I think people are hungry to hear from you, Jay. So what say you at the for the very end here?
Well, I just want to tell everybody that um, you have a you have several bodies, and when you die, the your light body, your plasma body, it goes up your spine and it moves out into the larger plasma field. Your memories are inserted into that plasma field, and you have the ability to choose whether you want to come back here again or move on to other realms. And so, what I'm really saying is that there's nothing to be afraid of at all.
Good
They
point.
can come in your house and they can blow your head off, and you'll just come back and haunt their asses. So there's nothing to be afraid of. There is no such thing as death, and you are eternal being, and you are trying to get back to source, back to the light that created you, and you're going to get there one way or another. And so there's once you have that firmly in your consciousness, there's no one that can do anything to you ever again.
Amen to that. Boy, that was so well said. Absolutely. So, Jay, in order for the audience to find you, those who don't know you, they can find you at jweidner.com.
Right?
And then you have your YouTube channel called Reality Check, which is doing, wow. I mean, the stuff you have in there is just unbelievable. A library of stuff, which is, I strongly recommend anybody who's not subscribed yet to please do so. And is there any other website that I'm missing? I know Gaia, you have something in Gaia as well.
Yeah, I have all my documentaries on Gaia, and I have my new film out,
Mm-hmm.
JFKX, solving the crime of the century, which is now up on 21 platforms,
Woo.
including YouTube, Tubi, Amazon Prime, Apple, Roku. I can't even say them all. It's up on everything. And so I'm going to be able to answer the question in a few months. Can a filmmaker make a living off of streaming. So
Oh,
it'll be very
interesting.
interesting.
I'll
Yeah,
I'll I'll sign up to that one for sure.
yeah.
That is
So
fantastic.
so you can go to Amazon Prime if you got it, but it's going to be on YouTube probably within a week, and it's going to be on Tubi, which is free with ads. So you don't even have to pay for it now.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, I really do appreciate you getting back on the show again with me, discussing more very interesting topics and going in depth in a lot of them, because we touched base on some of them last week or 2 weeks ago. But I think this time you really, went a little bit more in depth and clarified a lot of things. So thank you so much for joining me
Yeah.
again.
Thank you,
And
Ari.
oh, absolutely. And for the audience who is interested in joining shatteringthematrix.com, it's a fantastic platform where we all get together and talk about all these issues, and especially how come we're in the matrix. What is the matrix? How do we get out of the matrix? And it's just a community of like-minded souls who come together. You can post your own articles and blogs and videos. And yeah, it's almost like a Facebook, but it's not censored. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, thank you again, Jay, and all of you. I hope to see you at least in 2 weeks. You guys have a great night. Thank you, Jay.